We're in the segment where we are going to make some steam rice. In the making of our steam rice, we need to make sure we have all of our mise en place in place. And one bit of mise en place we have to have in place when it comes to cooking rice in the industry, you want to have what we call a cartouche. So a cartouche is basically a covering that we put on top of the rice that allows the steaming process to take place. So we have a piece of parchment paper. All right. So our parchment paper comes in one standard size, which fits a full sheet pan. We cut that parchment paper in half. For the size pot that I am using, this is good enough. So how do we make the cartouche? You take your parchment paper and you fold it in half. And make sure that that half meets the other side flush. Okay? So you say don't have anything protruding, it's flush. So we now have an open side and we now have a closed side. I'm right-handed, so my closed side will stay to my left because I'm working with my right hand. Now we have to fold this in half again. Not this way. No, no, no. You fold it in half this way, okay? So how do we know? Because we want the closed end to the closed end. If you go this way, that's the open end to the closed end. Wrong. We want the closed end to the closed end. Closed end to the closed end, fold in half. Make sure it is flush again. Just like that. Flush. So now everything here is closed and over here is open. All kept to my right. Now we want to form a triangle. So we want the closed end to meet the closed end. Not the open ends, the closed end to the closed end in a triangle. So that triangle, that fold, is to be precise in the corner. Flush to the ends, precise, sealed. Closed end to closed end. Open all there. And you do that process again. Closed end to closed end. Must be flush. The end must be precise. So obviously on a flat surface would be easier for you, okay? Closed end to closed end, point intact. That's it. This is your gauge. This tells you where you have to cut it off. It has to cut here. So this is where now we go to our poultry shears and we can cut off that piece. How do you know if your cartouche is long enough? It all depends on your pot or whatever vessel you're using, because this must be to the center and it must go to the top of the pot. All right, so this is definitely good enough for the pot that we have here. Otherwise, if it was too long, you can cut further down. So we have our folds in place, but before we open our cartouche, which we're trying to achieve a circle, which we will get, remember we're steaming rice. So for the steam to do its job and to escape, we need to have a vent. We need to put the vent to the tip, because you will see its purpose as we open up our cartouche. So just a nice small snip on the tip, and now we open the cartouche. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle, vent. So how do we now have to prepare this? This is going to go into our pot. You will see as we go along how that's done. But to ensure that our rice doesn't stick to this parchment paper, we need to make sure that we cover it with some fat, because it's going into water, so that it's likely that we can get rice sticking on. But once we apply some fat, we have the grease in place to prevent too much of that happening, okay? Now we are going to steam our rice. So the rice we're steaming today, we're actually going to do a saffron rice. Saffron, not real saffron, but we're going to be using turmeric. So our brothers and sisters from Trinidad, very popular in the use of their turmeric, but they would call it saffron rice. We are going to make a lovely, delicious, what we in Barbados call a yellow rice. So we're steaming this rice. That's the process we make. So it's quite straightforward. In our pot, I already have our water, and I've already added some turmeric. All right? Dried ground turmeric. Added in already. And the water has been brought to the boil. So whenever you're looking to steam rice, the water must be brought to boil. We're going to season our rice. We want this rice to taste good. We're in the Caribbean. We want this to taste good and we want it to look pretty. Already pretty with the turmeric, we're going to make it more pretty. So I have here some lovely sweet peppers, as we call them, otherwise known as bell peppers. I have a bit of flavor pepper I just added in. The lovely brunoise of onions that we did earlier. In they go. And then what's this big bunch of stuff? This is what we call, fancy term, a bouquet garni. Don't worry, French. As you progress in your culinary works, you will get to know this lovely guy. It's just a bunch of herbs tied together, of which I have a bay leaf in here. I have parsley stalks, some lovely scallions, and good old thyme. All tied together. Flavor, straight in he goes. Of course, we need to season with salt, and I'm going to add just enough salt now. I'm going to taste it before I add my rice. Some pepper. You see how pretty that look already? You know how good that gonna look in the rice? So you're encouraged to have tasting spoons, students. I spoke about it before. Use your tasting spoons. I will use this plate here to put them on the side so that I can wash them and use them again. Just a little bit more salt. Now, what is our measurements of water to rice? I have rice. This is a 1 cup. You know we measured a cup of rice before? A 1 cup measurement of rice. You'll be amazed at how far this rice will go. This rice has already been rinsed in water and ready to go into our seasoned boiling water. This water is 2 cups of rice. So the general measurement for rice is 1 part rice, 2 parts water for your general rice. 1 part rice, 2 parts water. So whether it is that you ended up using maybe this cup, you measured a cup of rice with this, you would measure 2 cups of water with this. Is it an exact science? No, it is not. It depends on the brand rice you're using, but you will gauge it as you go along. So our water is boiling. In go our washed rice. Yes, I am using my hands. My hands are clean because I have a better control and not having splash. But of course, you can utilize your spoons and you can utilize your spatulas. I just give it a stir. 1 more taste, because you know I added more salt, remember? That's lovely. So just for a little bit of richness, you don't have to add that. I'm going to add a small bit of butter, just for that additional richness to our steamed rice. And that's our rice pilaf. So it's already boiling. You can see that there. We're going to immediately add our cartouche, buttered side down. Just like that. Lower the heat, because now the water plays its part in cooking your rice. But what happens is the rice absorbs water and the steam helps to cook the external part of your rice, okay? So that's it. That's the cooking of your rice. If you were to use the cover, you absolutely can do so. If the cartouche is smaller and you want to add the cover, fine, but it's not necessary because you have the cartouche. or you can steam with your cover as well. But in the industry, we always use a buttered cartouche for steaming. So what we will do is we will leave this, let our rice absorb that water, let that steam start to take place. When I see the water has removed and died down, I will remove the cartouche, take a fork, fluff the rice, meaning I will take what's at the bottom, come to the top, and we will gauge the doneness of our rice. We are now going to check our rice. We're checking to see if the grains are cooked, but as well as we need to fluff the rice. So the fork, always use the fork, avoid the spoon. Rice is starchy. What you end up doing is turning the rice, and what you do is releasing a lot of the starch. You can end up with very friendly rice. We want to keep our rice grains nice and loose, and we just want to get what's at the bottom to the top. So we can see there's no more water in there at this point. You see how that steam is coming off? And all we're doing is taking this. I'm just lowering my heat a little bit more because we're steaming, right? And fluffing that rice. So you don't see me stirring all the time. So you can see there's still moisture in the rice. So that needs to steam some more. The grains have swollen, but how do you check your grains? You just simply take one and take it between the hand. You can feel. So we're just about there, not there yet. It can do with a little more cooking. Or, of course, you can take your tasting spoon as well. You can test them by tasting it in the mouth. Even it back out. On goes your cartouche. And we leave that to finish steam. We are in the segment for moist heat cooking methods. And the method we're going to be using now is steaming. We are going to steam some delicious local marlin. So in our mise en place and preparation, we already have our marlin seasoned and placed in our vessel that we want to use to steam our fish. So already you want to know, where's the fish? What's that green stuff? This is good old banana leaf. So we're home, we're in the Caribbean, and we want to try to utilize our indigenous foods that's available to us to impart additional flavor to our food. So here we have the fish, which we have seasoned with our local Bajan seasoning. On top of here, I have a julienne of peppers. I have a julienne of onions. I have some garlic. And I also have some lemon slices. So always with fish, we want to have that acidity of lemon or lime come in, imparted into the flavor of our food. And you can see at the bottom, we have banana leaf as well. And the banana leaf just imparts additional flavor. So when we speak to steaming, we're speaking to the use of steam in the cooking process. It's the steam that does the cooking. Steam is achieved through boiling or simmering liquid. It is evaporated water. That's what steam is, right? So your steam is a moist heat cooking method because it still involves H2O, water, evaporated water. So our water is currently boiling. We don't want to run out of the water. We want to maintain our water so it doesn't boil out. So all we're going to do is lower it, let it come to the steam. So we are going to put our fish to steam. In it goes. As you can see, I've chosen a vessel that can properly house my colander. You want the colander to sit properly in your vessel so that all that steam is fully utilized in the cooking process. You will see that there's no water dripping from the bottom of this because this is not touching the water. We are strictly using the steam. So in that goes. And to assist in the process, we will cover it down as well. And that way we're trapping all that steam in there. Allow that steam, that convectional heat to take place and cook our lovely marlin.